Hey guys, Madison here, back for another Film Friday, and it is officially holiday season here on my channel. I'm going to be watching Christmas-themed movies, or at least Christmas-adjacent themed movies for the whole month of December, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's always so much fun. Big Christmas fan here. So, for the first week of December, I am watching The Bishop's Wife, a very vintage Christmas classic. It's from 1947. I had never heard of this movie until my patrons, there were rumblings, they were like, you need to watch The Bishop's Wife, and then some people on YouTube were also recommending it to me. I know it stars Cary Grant, who I really like. I've only seen him in one movie, I believe, when I watched him in North by Northwest on my channel, and really enjoyed that movie, and so I'm looking forward to seeing him again. It's been a long time. I think it's been maybe over a year now. It's been a little while. It's been a bit, Cary Grant, but I'm excited to see him again. Apart from that, I know nothing about this movie, but I'm excited to watch because I've been having quite a journey with diving into classic movies from the 40s, 50s, 60s. I've been going way back, and I've been having a lot of fun doing it. Quick little mini announcement before I jump into the reaction this week. Keep an eye out, make sure you're subscribed, because I'm going to be dropping a video in the next few days about a contest that I have coming up very, very soon this month. I am doing a giveaway for my debut novel, Gone Outlaw. It's going to be a hardcover copy. It's going to be really nice, and there's going to be some other goodies thrown in with the giveaway. So if you want to hear all the details about the contest and how you can enter, all that stuff, that video is coming very, very soon. So keep an eye out. And with that said, guys, it's time to watch the movie. So let's jump in and let's check out The Bishop's Wife. Oh, there's a novel. I'm not surprised. So many of these good movies come from novels.
This is very kind of you. It's a privilege.
Why are they like gunning it right up to him and then slamming on the brakes? Can you not see that there's people crossing the street?
Good luck to you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you.
All right, then, just for a minute.
Oh no! Baby, baby, baby.
Oh, my baby. Oh, my baby. Oh, how can I ever thank you?
Don't try. Just don't let it happen again.
Is he like a guardian angel? He keeps just appearing in the perfect spots to help everyone. And he seems almost kind of detached from it all. He's just the observer.
Well, if it isn't my beautiful Julia.
Oh, hello, Professor.
Well, what are you doing in this part of town?
I'm buying a Christmas tree.
Now, how much do you charge for this miserable weed?
Don't talk about it like that.
I didn't know you celebrated Christmas. I thought you had no religion.
There are lots of people who aren't religious, but they celebrate Christmas.
How's Henry? I haven't seen him in quite some time.
Oh, he's well, thank you.
Imagine he's having difficulty raising money for the cathedral.
Yes. It's slow work.
There was so much said in that little pause before she answered his question.
It's $1.40. Very well, my venal friend. Here is your blood money.
Mr. Magenti, will you send the tree up on Christmas Eve?
Oh, sure. Don't you worry. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
They said angrily.
There's something I'd like you to give Henry with my compliments for his cathedral fund. It's an old Roman coin. I picked it up years ago in a junk shop in Brindisi. It has little value.
It's a wonderful contribution.
But, Julia, this is no occasion for tears.
She's acting very strange. Has her husband like passed away and she hasn't told anyone?
Why, Professor, how fine to see you again after all these years.
How are you?
Never better, and you?
Oh, quite well also, thank you.
I don't think you remember me.
Where did we meet? It wasn't Vienna, was it?
Beautiful old Vienna.
The university.
The university.
I couldn't help noticing your tender parting from Julia.
Well, you know Julia?
In a way, yes.
In a way.
I'm interested in Julia and Henry. What seems to be their trouble?
Henry's old church, perishing from neglect.
It's such a nice little church.
Too little, I'm afraid. It can't stand up against the march of progress. I must be pushing on.
Delighted to have seen you again, Professor.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Good evening, Professor. Oh, Pat, have you any idea who that man is?
He's a stranger to everyone, is my guess.
Good evening, Mrs. Brown. Good evening, Matilda.
Look at the dog. Is that a Saint Bernard? So big and fluffy.
Good evening, Mrs. Hamilton, but I was delayed Christmas shopping. I hope you've been having a good meeting.
We have not.
Mr. Perry was about to tell us something when my wife came in.
Merely a suggestion.
Well, her husband is alive. I was mistaken.
This cathedral cannot be designed for the glory of an individual. It has to be created for all the people.
You seem to forget that I was instrumental in having you made bishop. You will build that cathedral as I want it, or you will not build it at all.
Well then.
Good night, Mrs. Hamilton.
Snobby rich lady has left the building.
Julia, you knew that Mrs. Hamilton and the others were expected here for the meeting this afternoon.
I know, Henry. I'm sorry I was late.
What a ghastly afternoon. What a ghastly woman.
Ghastly indeed.
Henry, if you could see your poor, harassed face.
Well, you haven't done very much to help it.
Henry, what's happened to you? What's happened to us and our marriage? We used to be happy. We used to make other people happy. You're no financier and you're not a promoter.
I want this cathedral to stand like a great beacon. I want its light to shine.
Never mind, Henry, never mind. Here's a contribution I collected. It's an old Roman coin. Professor Wuthridge sent it to you.
Old fool, what does he think I can do with that?
He has a very poor attitude. I mean, let the rich lady finance it. I mean, if she wants an honorary plaque on the front, put it there. I mean, it's more important that it gets built, right?
What we are about to receive, may Lord make us truly thankful. Amen.
That dog's just gonna be the scene stealer every time. Just gonna be staring at the dog. I just want to give him a big hug.
Tomorrow, maybe we could go out together. Walk around the way we used to. We could go and call on the professor. Go to the park and watch the skaters. Maybe we could have lunch together at Michelle's. Do you remember that?
Oh, it's been years since we've been there.
I've been trying to explain to Mr. Trevor, but he insists upon speaking to you personally, Bishop.
Excuse me, darling. I appreciate your difficulties, but very well, I'll be there. 10:30 tomorrow morning, then we can go on to the board meeting.
So much for the outing with his wife.
And don't forget, tomorrow you speak at the Junior Assembly at the Hotel Hamilton. Remember, you made the appointment over a month ago.
He's too busy, never spends time with his wife. She's being neglected.
God, what am I to do? Can't you help me? Can't you tell me? Oh, God, please help me. Yes?
Yeah, he's definitely an angel.
You asked for help. You were known to be a good man, Henry, and you were heard. I was instructed to come here in answer to your prayer. I'm an angel.
I knew it. I've been working too hard.
I understand, Henry. It's hard to believe, even for you. You have some problems with the building of this cathedral, haven't you?
Yes? What do you propose to do? Perform a miracle?
If necessary.
Why don't you create the cathedral with one wave of your hand?
How would you explain it? Tell the world you're being visited by an angel?
Henry, is anything wrong?
How do you do, Julia? I'm Dudley. Henry is engaging me to help him with his work. I'm going to try to help Henry to rest and get some relaxation.
That's what I've been praying for.
You too?
Where do you come from, Dudley?
Heaven.
He says that he's an...
I've been doing some social service work downtown.
So he's not going to tell Julia what he is.
I know it isn't easy for you, Henry, but you've just got to take me on faith.
Yes, but for how long? How long will it take?
Until you can utter another prayer and say that you have no further need of me, then I'll be gone and forgotten.
Forgotten? Are they not going to remember him?
But I don't...
I like that Dudley just straight up told Henry what he was immediately instead of like trying to be all coy and like give a story about how he was helping and who he was like he just did to the wife. I think he should just tell both of them. But maybe he thought tell more people and the secret will get out, you know, like maybe he wants to make sure that information stays contained.
Are you nervous, dear?
Yeah, good luck hiding it. She's gonna be like, what is going on here?
Well, the bishop didn't eat his breakfast. No, he took only his prune juice. What's the matter, is he sick? Oh, he looked perfectly awful. He said he had a very bad sleepless night.
I don't know if I'd be able to sleep either if I had a conversation with an angel. He's like, oh my gosh, it was real. It really did happen.
I'm afraid I'm a little late, but I stopped to chat with a traffic policeman who was worried about his wife. Well, thank you, dear. So I directed the traffic while he telephoned the hospital. She's doing fine, so's the baby.
I think she's admiring the view.
Well, ready?
Henry and I are going out together.
I'm terribly sorry, but I find I have some appointments.
Dudley could represent you at those meetings, couldn't he?
Oh, no, that's out of the question. You see, they expect me. It would never do if I sent an assistant.
All right, I'll tell Matilda that she can have the day off for Christmas shopping, and I'll take care of Debbie.
Well, I don't know who you are. I don't know where you came from or who it was that sent you. Whatever it was, I just wish you'd make haste. There's no time to lose.
Because the cathedral must be built, or because Julia must be happy? It's going to be difficult for me to help you until I'm sure what it is you really want.
Would you mind telling me what you intend to do now?
This card index file is in an awful mess. Think I'll reorganize it.
I still think you're wasting your time on unimportant details.
I wouldn't be telling an angel how to do his job. What is it about that coin? They keep bringing attention to it.
Goodbye, Dudley.
Bye, Debbie.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, well, thank you, Matilda.
Aren't you going to wear a hat?
The cold never affects me.
The cold never bothered me anyway. Matilda, she's love-struck.
What's the matter, honey?
They don't want me. I guess I'm too little or something.
Come on, Debbie. We'll show them how wrong they are. Now, this young lady would like to get into it.
She can't fight. Her father's a bishop.
How'd you like her to play on your team?
She couldn't throw a snowball as far as I could spit.
I bet she can.
But it's true. I can't throw.
Nonsense, of course you can. Aim it right at him and let it go.
She can with an angel's help.
Come on, kid. You're in our army.
Do you think she'll get hurt?
Probably, but she'll love it. By the way, I told Miss Cassaway to go home, and I told Delia not to bother to bring me anything on the tray.
Oh, well, what will you do about lunch?
I thought I'd go to Miss Shelves. Ever heard of it?
Hmm.
How about you and I going there today?
Well,
Surely you don't think Henry would mind?
No, it isn't that. But, well, you see, Matilda's off Christmas shopping, and so I have to look after Debbie.
Well, here's Matilda now.
If you wish, I'll take Debbie home, Mrs. Braun.
But, Matilda, you're shopping.
Oh, I finished it.
Perfect timing.
Madam, welcome.
Oh, Michelle.
She's getting to do what she wanted to do, but not with her husband. Better be careful. People are going to start gossiping.
Dudley, I've been wondering about you. You know so much. Makes me feel uncomfortable.
If only you knew.
Did you and Henry come here often?
As a matter of fact, this is where we became engaged to be married.
Then I can understand why you love it. Now, would you care to have your palm read?
I suppose you can read the future.
Within limits.
He's holding her hand.
Yep, here comes the gossip.
I see a rich, full life.
Do you see Henry's new cathedral?
No, it's not very clear. There's kind of a fuzziness about that.
You haven't looked at my hand once. I never know what to think of you, Dudley. I never know whether you're joking or serious.
I'm at my most serious when I'm joking.
I think that's true. I think a lot of people disguise things they really mean by saying it as a joke.
My name is Dudley. I believe you're all good friends of Julia's. And we were wondering if you'd care to join us for lunch. Why don't you join us for some coffee? How about that? Do come on.
That's great. Called out. Maybe he's going to help with that business, those donations. He's getting them to network.
Oh, why, sir, we thought you were out for lunch.
No, I cancelled my appointment. Mrs. Broom, where's she?
She went out to lunch with Mr. Dudley.
He's gonna get mad jealous. I'm afraid that Julia's gonna fall for Dudley, not knowing he's an angel because he's spending all his time with her. She's gonna get all doughy-eyed, you know, because her husband never pays her any mind. And then it's gonna be real awkward when she finds out he's an angel.
You like that hat?
Yes, I'm crazy about it.
Well, let's go in and buy it.
Oh, no, I couldn't.
Why, my old friend, the professor.
Hello, Professor.
Julia, are you with this man?
Yes, of course.
In that case, how about dropping into my humble diggings for a bit of Yuletide cheer?
Perhaps just for a few minutes.
Good, come along. There's a little sherry left.
Professor, I see you're quite a religious man. You have an angel on your tree.
Oh, Julia gave me that years ago.
Why, your tree is beautiful.
It's disgraceful. However, it gives me the illusion of peace on earth, goodwill toward men.
Why don't you show us the manuscript of your book, Professor, will you?
I'll tell you about my book. For 20 years, I've been talking about it. The funny part of it is that in all that time, I haven't written one word.
Why not?
Well, I couldn't think of anything original to say. It's the whole story of my life. Frustration. It's a chronic disease. And it's in... Once I was madly in love with a girl.
You never told me about that.
No, that's just the trouble. I never told her about it either. She married an athlete, a great hulking oaf who never even reached the 8th grade. But he knew how to say, I love you.
He let the opportunity pass him by.
Well, that's the one that you gave to Henry, Professor.
I stole it off the table. This is one of the rarest of all antiquities. Only 100 of these coins were minted by Julius Caesar 2,000 years ago.
What?
It's an unwritten chapter in history. And you, Professor, will write it.
Well, where do you come from?
Supposing I told you I came from another planet, would you believe me?
I'd believe you, Dudley.
And you'd be right, Julia, as always. We all come from our own little planets. That's what makes life interesting.
He's like, how does that keep getting full?
Dudley,
Yes, my friend.
that history is a tremendous task. Will I have time to finish it?
You'll have time.
I believe you, Dudley.
Inspiring people, giving them hope, rekindling their dreams. I need to know the dog's name. They haven't said it yet, have they?
What's that cake for?
Oh, for anybody who might like cake.
But you know very well that neither Mrs. Brawl nor myself like these elaborate desserts.
It's for Dudley, her new crush.
Can you prove to me that you are an angel? Make this desk rise up and fly around the room.
I didn't come down here to do silly tricks. I'm surprised at you.
I don't believe you're an angel. I think you're a demon right out of...
Oh, Henry.
Oh.
Don't say that.
He didn't need a key to open that door. That was fantastic.
Dinner is served, Bishop.
Thank you, Dudley.
The dog always goes and lays by him. That's so sweet. But not this time. I mean, we all know dogs are the best judges of character, so he should take that as a huge positive sign.
I like to watch you brushing your hair. You do it so capably. Now I come to think of it, everything you do is capable. If there's one thing I pride myself on, it's the fact that we lead a well-ordered life. Of course, the credit for that is due to you, much more than to me. I think you're an excellent wife.
Oh, thank you.
Do you think I'm an excellent husband?
Of course, dear.
He's feeling upstaged.
Don't you know any stories?
Oh, certainly. I know hundreds of stories.
Tell me one.
Once upon a time, there was a little boy. His name was David. He was a shepherd, and the town where he lived was called Bethlehem. David was singing songs that he wrote himself. Well, suddenly an angel came down and spoke to David. This angel said to David, "One of your lambs has strayed." So David went out in the darkness to find the lamb. And when David found the lamb, he saw a great, big, ferocious lion. And the lion said, "You get away from me or I'll eat you too." So David took out his sling and he hurled a stone and hit the lion right between the eyes. Well, he picked up the lamb and took it back to the fold. And then he felt so happy that he made up another song. It started out, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." You can tell the rest of this, Henry.
Some other time.
It's always some other time with him.
Oh, pretty.
I love how all the women swoon every time he pays them any attention.
I'll be there. 5 o'clock this evening.
Well, Henry, you didn't make an appointment for this afternoon, did you?
Well, yes, it was the only possible time, darling.
Why, that rehearsal's being held just for you. And I don't like going alone.
Dudley, I take it that you have the money for the taxi?
What makes you think I have money?
Oh, I just thought that you, being an angel...
Oh, goodness.
Convenient bump in the road.
I'll see you in front of St. Timothy's in exactly 1 hour. I will be there. Good.
Hold him accountable, Dudley. These houses, man, my goodness. Look at that. That's like a manor house.
Upon mature consideration, my objections seem petty indeed compared with the generosity of your gesture. I am unceasingly grateful, Mrs. Hamilton. What really matters is that the cathedral be built.
Good. Now let's get the blueprints.
As we're now in such complete agreement, would you mind very much if we postpone the discussion of the details? Because Julia's waiting for me at St. Timothy's.
Clearly he's not meant to leave yet.
Oh. I wonder,
That's hilarious.
I'm afraid some of our boys are a little late. We really should begin, but I don't see how we can.
It's like all of the boys are late.
What do you think?
I sing first soprano.
Well, how about giving out?
Me alone?
Well, you got George up there. Well, what do you say?
Okay.
I think they're great. beautiful.
Mrs. Hamilton, might I use your telephone?
Yes, of course. It's over there.
Thank you so much.
That is a gorgeous harp over there.
Well, if only I could get in touch with Julia or Dudley.
Now, don't be nervous, Bishop. Have a chair.
Thank you, I have one.
Here's the cab, Julia.
Why are they taking all that out of the window?
Now, this is one of our most exclusive models. Not everyone could wear such a daring hat.
What's he gonna do? He knew she wanted that.
Sylvester, could you drive us through the park, please?
I'll drive you by way of Mexico City if you want me.
Thank you.
You folks happen to know what the main trouble with this country is? The main trouble is there are too many people who don't know where they're going and they want to get there too fast.
That was a fantastic quote.
And you're not reluctant to spend an extra $4 for a day tour. Did you see the way I missed that truck?
Yes, but don't overplay your hand. Sylvester, pull up here. Come on, Julia, we're going skating.
Oh, no, we mustn't. It's late. We couldn't. Do you think we could?
She wants some spontaneous fun in her life.
Oh, I'm so sure of that.
Ice skating with Cary Grant. That's the dream, isn't it? Oh my goodness. Olympic skater status.
Now you.
Oh, no,
Come on.
Now that she's thoroughly intimidated. That would be me. And no, I'm not exaggerating. That has happened to me once while rollerblading.
Hang on to me now. Oh, don't leave me.
There you go, Sylvester. You got this.
Wait for me, Dudley.
It's just running. They were making that look so much easier than it is. I loved that scene.
How much do I owe you, Sylvester?
Not a cent, my friend, because you and the little lady have restored my faith in human nature.
This has been the most wonderful evening I've had in years.
This has been the most wonderful evening I've had in centuries. Oh, well, here it is. Open.
Well, hello, Queenie.
Hello, Queenie. How are you?
Queenie? Is her name Queenie? Oh.
What happened to you? It's very late.
We went skating. Oh, Henry, you should have heard those boys sing at St. Timothy's. It was absolutely heavenly. Oh, dear, I want to see Debbie before she goes to sleep. Oh, you haven't said a word about it.
About what?
My new hat.
Charming.
He doesn't sound charmed.
You deliberately stopped me from joining you.
Well, if you'd sent me to represent you with Mrs. Hamilton, I would have gone. You didn't. So I represented you with your wife.
Dudley, you can go now. I've solved my problem. Mrs. Hamilton is giving the money for the cathedral.
I don't think that's your problem, Henry.
Don't you think it's worth it for this glorious edifice?
I'm not so sure if it's glory at a time like this. You know, these are lean years for the world. That big roof could make so many little roofs.
It's all arranged. It's finished. You came here so that I could have a cathedral. Well, I've got a cathedral, and now I want you to get out of my house and out of my life and away from Julia.
Julia doesn't.
Get out!
Try to calm yourself, Henry.
Debbie wants Dudley to come up and say goodnight to her. Where is he?
He's gone.
Why did he leave so suddenly?
I told him to go away. I fired him. He's no good at his job, and I cannot stand the sight of him.
Jealous. That green-eyed monster.
I'm sure that Dudley's never coming back.
Dudley wouldn't leave us without saying a word. And besides, he promised me he was going to tell you about Santa Claus. He knows Santa Claus very well.
But it's almost Christmas Eve. Soon I'll have to go to bed.
Oh, he needs to come back.
Now, if you'll be good enough, Miss Castaway, here's the manuscript of my Christmas sermon. If you get the typing done before I come back, just leave the copies here on my desk. I'm sorry to keep you so long on Christmas Eve.
I understand. It must be done. I'm ready to start out now. Goodbye, Miss Castaway.
He's back.
Well, where have you been? All of us have been worrying about you, and poor Mrs. Brahm. Well, she's been popping in and out of here all day, asking, have you seen Dudley? Have you heard from him?
Where is she, Mildred?
She and the bishop had some calls to make, finishing at Mrs. Hamilton's.
Let me type that sermon for you.
Oh, no, the bishop told
Well,
me.
it's almost Christmas Eve. You must have shopping to do.
Thank you, Dudley.
Merry Christmas, Mildred.
Merry Christmas, Dudley. Merry...
Into the fire.
Take a salmon. Tonight, I want to tell you the story of an empty stocking. Once upon a midnight clear, there was a child's cry. A blazing star hung over a stable, and wise men came with birthday gifts.
She's about to jump so bad when she turns around.
I knew you hadn't walked out on us.
Of course not. I'll run upstairs, Matilda. Tell Debbie I'll see her later. First, I have some work to do.
I'll tell her.
Oh, speed decorating. Yes, all the shimmers. The perfect finishing touch.
Mrs. Hamilton expecting you? Not exactly, but she'll wish to see me. I'm the bishop's assistant.
This is going to be interesting. What's in the box?
This was composed for you, my darling, and you only, Alan, when her husband's name was George.
She got a man on the side. Harps are so beautiful. I love them. She's like, how do you know that?
There's no one living but me that knows that composition.
It's a shame that only you and I appreciate the lost genius of Alan Cartwright.
You know about Alan Cartwright?
Oh, yes.
That was nearly 40 years ago.
Oh.
I'm much older than you think. Come, let us sit down. But tell me about Alan. And you.
Alan Cartwright was the only man I ever loved. He had nothing and I was afraid of poverty. He went away. I never saw him again. I never loved George Hamilton. He was wealthy. I've spent a fortune honoring his memory in empty monuments.
Wow. Trying to put his name on the plaque and in the window. Trying to, like, prove to the world, prove to everyone that she loved him, and she didn't.
The bishop and Mrs. Brougham are calling, madam.
Yes. Oh, you'll stay for dinner, Dudley.
Oh, I'm afraid I can't, Agnes.
Agnes. Already on a first-name basis.
You know, my dear, meeting Dudley has been the greatest spiritual experience of my life. Henry, I've changed my mind about the cathedral. I'm going to give my money to those who need it. And I want you to direct the spending of the money.
Thank you, Mrs. Hamilton. I'll be home later for dinner or something. I don't know what time. Goodbye.
That's it? That's all he's got to say? Finally going down there, huh?
Hello, Professor.
Henry, come in, my dear fellow. Come in. I want to show you something. You see this bottle? You note that it is full? This is something that even you can't explain with all your vast ecclesiastical knowledge. You will observe that it's still full. And what's more, the sherry itself. It stimulates, it warms, it inspires, it never inebriates. And that bottle isn't all. He told me some things about history that opened my eyes. My history. I'm actually writing it. This Dudley is no mortal man like the rest of us.
He says he's an angel. That's funny. Nothing stopped me from saying it that time.
Nothing less than an angel could have put me to work.
I'm glad he'd done some good for somebody. He brought nothing but disaster for me.
That's how he sees it.
She's a different person when she's with him. He's made her despise me.
No, you have. And she doesn't despise you.
I suppose that Dudley came to me just to confirm that I'd already lost the love of Julia and Debbie.
You and Julia love each other. You always have.
That's only partially true. I love Julia.
Well, then why don't you fight for her?
How can I fight against...
But you have a tremendous advantage over him.
Over an angel?
That's precisely it. He's an angel. Julia is a creature of earth. She's a woman, Henry. And you are a man.
Come on, Henry, just try.
I think my work here is almost finished. I'll have to be moving along.
Will we ever see you again?
They seldom send us to the same place twice. We might form attachments.
What are you saying, Dudley?
I'm tired of an existence where one is neither hot nor cold.
No, you must go away and never come back.
I think he did that on purpose to get her to finally let go of him.
But I suggest you take off your coat and put up your dukes.
Now, why do you want to fight me, Henry?
Because you're a thief, trying to steal my wife, my child, my all, the love that belongs to me. Julia means more to me than my life. I'm not going to lose her.
Then I have news for you. I'm going.
I'll accept that as a fact when I see it happen.
Oh, no, you won't. Because when I'm gone, you will never know that an angel visited your house.
I don't trust you, Dudley.
You may, Henry, because your prayer has been answered.
That's not true. My prayer has not been answered. I was praying for a cathedral.
No, Henry. You were praying for guidance. That has been given to you.
That's true.
If we should need you again, will you come back?
I should ask to be assigned to the other end of the universe. When an immortal finds himself envying the mortal entrusted to his care, it's a danger signal.
Kiss her for me, you lucky Henry.
Henry, what is it?
I just have the most inexplicable feeling of happiness. Downstairs in the kitchen, there's a big bowl of cider.
Yes, that's for tomorrow afternoon.
So let's drink it loud. Let's drink to us, to our happiness, and to what lies ahead. And then let's smash the glasses in the fireplace.
That's coming from St. Timothy's. That cider's going to have to wait if you're going to give your Christmas Eve sermon.
Oh, my sermon.
Yes.
But that's better still.
Is it going to be the sermon that Dudley typed?
Once upon a midnight clear, there was a child's cry, and wise men came with birthday gifts. We haven't forgotten that night down the centuries. All the stockings are filled, except one. A stocking for the child born in a manger. It's his birthday we're celebrating. Let us ask ourselves what he would wish for most. Loving kindness, warm hearts, and the stretched out hand of tolerance. All the shining gifts that make peace on earth.
What a lovely little story that was. I really, really enjoyed that. It was such a quiet and small scale movie, as so many of these older classics are, and every time it is such a refreshing change of pace from the movies of today. Just quick, faster, more intense, explosions, CGI, you know, and lots of just throwaway, a lot of extra, a lot of not necessary. And these older classics are a lot of times so contained and so small scale, but the scripts are so tight, and you just have a lot of really interesting, and on the surface they can seem like such simple stories, but there's a lot of beautiful complexity kind of just under the surface. I thought that this movie had a really beautiful message. The quote that stuck with me the most and hit me the hardest in the moment was when they were riding with the taxi driver, and Sylvester was like, do you know what the problem with this country is? There's too many people who don't know where they're going, and they can't get there fast enough. They're just in a rush, they're in a hurry. But what are they in a hurry for? What are they rushing to? They don't know where they're going. They don't know what they want. Maybe they've told themselves they want something. Maybe other people have told them that they want something, but they don't really. It's just they see the conventions of modern society. There are the expectations placed upon them. You're supposed to do this, you know, by the time you're 20, you're supposed to do this by the time you're 25, this by the time you're 30. You know, there's a lot of these societal expectations that sometimes people don't mean to place on other people. It's just almost programmed into us. These expectations, these pressures conform. And we get caught up in things, and we start thinking, I have to do this to maybe prove my value to society, or to make people think that I am successful, or convince everyone that I'm happy, you know, so on and so forth. That line really hit me hard. And we have this bishop at the center of the story who has very much gotten caught up in the material, which is the opposite of his job. He's supposed to be tending to his congregation, tending to people's spiritual needs, offering guidance, offering generosity, you know, especially at the holiday, in the holiday season, you know, donating food, offering shelter, you know, doing whatever he can for the people. But he's totally lost focus of what is important, and he's gotten caught up in restoring and improving the material, the cathedral, and he totally lost sight of the fact that it's not about the building. It was never about the building. It's about the people, the congregation. It's about more than the congregation. It's about even his family, his own family that he is neglecting, especially his wife. Julia was such a likable character. I mean, she really was a ray of sunshine that had been dimmed by this cloud that her husband is casting over their lives by this constant stress and pressure. And, you know, a lot of us, we don't want to see ourselves in the bishop, right? We want to see ourselves more in Julia. But as someone who often gets caught up in the projects and the things that I'm working on, I could see myself in the bishop a little bit. I could see myself in him getting caught up in the things that are important, but not more important than some of the things we neglect. Oh, I'm too busy for that right now. Oh, I don't have time for that right now. And it's like, you've gotta make time, because there are things more important than work. There are things more important than these projects, these things that we need to get done and are important, but family's first. Nothing's more important than family. Nothing's more important than our relationships with other people. And so that theme of this movie really hit me, and I think that that's a really important message to convey, especially, I mean, this movie was, I think I said 1947 in my intro. It says 1948 actually, but if it was relevant then, it was even more so relevant today. We live in a society of a culture that just, it's immediate gratification all the time. Like a lot of people these days have the attention span of a goldfish. They watch something for 30 seconds at the most, scroll, immediately to scrolling onto the next thing, like stimulate my senses, like, oh, I gotta text this person back, I gotta, watch this thing over here. I mean, people are like cats with lasers getting pointed at the wall. It's like, when do we ever these days just take the time to slow down and go ice skating? Just take some time and say, you know what, I'm not going to go to that appointment today. I'm going to go to this restaurant that I love, that I haven't been to in a long time. That, me and someone I love, someone I'm close with, we have these special memories there. Let's go out for lunch, and there are so many times now where we get caught up in the busyness of life, the rush of life. And it's like, what are we rushing to? Maybe in trying to rush to these perceived big things, we lose sight of the little moments. And the little moments, the small moments that may seem kind of insignificant at the time, are the moments that we may look back on later and say, you know what, that was one of the best days of my life. I didn't really think much about this at the time, but it was something I treasure now. Why am I tearing up? Oh my goodness, guys, I'm like tearing up talking about this stuff, but it was a really beautiful movie with a lot of really relevant lessons in it. And it was presented in just a really simple way, but an effective way. I really enjoyed this cast, and I love Cary Grant. It was fun getting to watch him play an angel. It really was. He's just so likable. He has the perfect kind of charisma for that. You can't not like him. You can't. It's impossible. And I loved that last moment with him and Julia because they were both tempted. It was really interesting. Like, at first I was thinking, he's tempting her so she can pass this last test. Like, she obviously liked him, but when he actually made an advance at her, she immediately rejected him and was like, no, can't do this. You need to leave, and I'm never going to see you again. So she passed the test. She resisted temptation, and at first that was how I was seeing it. It was just him testing her, but really she was a test for him because he was saying, we can only do a job like for this certain family one time. We don't want to, we're in danger of forming attachments. And then he kind of admitted that he was like jealous of Henry and his mortal life in a way at the end. Like, Julia was sort of a temptation for him, for Dudley, that he had to resist to maintain his integrity. And that was really interesting. And of course works because angels are not above temptation. Angels, of course, are not above falling from grace. So I thought that aspect of the story was really, really fascinating. That they allowed him not to be perfect. and to also be tempted. I thought that was interesting. I really enjoyed this story, and it was a Christmas movie, but it was not all about Christmas. It was set at Christmas with these really interesting family dynamics going on of like, how are we going to reconcile this man and his wife who are becoming increasingly estranged because he doesn't have time for her, and he's getting caught up in all these things, getting caught up in being busy. And it was almost like that was easier for him. Being busy was easier for him than facing her and spending time with her, because he almost had this inferiority complex going of like, well, I've already lost her. She doesn't love me anymore. My daughter doesn't love me anymore, you know. And then this angel swoops in and he's like, well, now I'm just really being outdone. I don't stand a chance. And it was just a defeatist kind of attitude of, well, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you tell yourself, I'm not good enough for my wife, he was kind of just creating this self-fulfilling prophecy of like, well, if you have that attitude and you completely isolate yourself from her and you never spend time with her, you never take her out and like buy her a hat, you don't take her out to lunch, you don't do all these things with her, of course you're gonna lose her and you're gonna grow apart because you're not spending any time with her. So it was very entertaining and interesting to watch his evolution of finally, it took a man coming in and threatening his connection with his wife for him to finally get the courage, to get the determination of like, hey, I'm not losing my family. I'm going to fight for my family. And that was really great to see. Just a really enjoyable, charming movie, a very sweet movie. And it was perfect to set it at Christmas, you know, have the snow and kind of the magical, I mean, it's very much a trope now of like these magical Christmas movies, and then they bring in a character who is an angel, very much a trope now. And I wonder if this is kind of one of the movies who started that tradition, started that trope. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, guys. So thank you so much to everyone who recommended it to me, because again, I had never even heard of this movie. I didn't know it existed, but now I do, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this reaction. Be sure to click the link in the description below if you want to watch the full-length reaction. You can do that over on my Patreon. Thank you guys so much, all of you who have supported me on Patreon over the past couple of years. Those of you who have been here the whole time, those of you who are brand new, I appreciate all of you so much, because your support is what helps me keep this channel going. So I am very grateful for all of you this holiday season. Thank you so much. And for all of you here on YouTube, thank you so much for your support as well. Thank you for the likes, the comments, the subs. I appreciate it all so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming over to chat during the live premieres each week. It is so much fun hanging out with you guys. If you're watching this reaction later in the month, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I hope you enjoyed this reaction. And I will see you guys next week for another Film Friday, for another Christmas-themed movie. I can't wait. It's going to be a good time. And I will see you guys next week. Bye, y'all.